Hi, my name is Leonardo Maltos. I am an education specialist here in the Bay Area, and these are my thoughts on the lesson plan that we were presented for class this week. My first impression was obviously this lesson plan was much more in depth than any of the lesson plans I had ever seen before. Frankly, it seems like a lot of the teachers, especially the teachers who've been doing it for 7, 8 years, maybe even a decade or two, honestly. They seem to just kind of go off of slideshows that they've already had. And, I guess it's easy for me to sit here and say that they don't really engage with the theory, but it really does seem like they do have these sort of like cookie cutter lesson plans that they kind of put together without really thinking about the academic theories behind the lessons that they're actually implementing in their classes. One thing that I really liked about it that I think my school could do a better of is differentiating between different groups of, let's say, I don't want to say intelligence, but different groups of children based on their perceived academic outcomes, right? We have sort of our advanced group, which turns in all their homework on time. They can do the lessons very well. And then, we have kind of the students who do their work, but do need some prompting and help here and there. And then there are some students who do need extra support. And one of the things I really liked about the lesson plan that we saw was that it actually forces you to think about, well, how are you going to treat these students differently? Because in the school that I'm in, it really feels like all the kids are given the same lesson in the same way, and the teacher is helping some of the more at-risk students. However, it doesn't really seem like there's a lot of differentiation as far as the actual content that's being presented. And finally, I thought it was really cool that we have the World Economic Forum coming together to really think about what are important things to be teaching about in every lesson. And I think the inclusion of social emotional concepts is something that would really make sense, especially in something like a middle school where, the kids are going through puberty and they're really forming these deep relationships with their friends that, they're not really always sure what to do with. And one of the biggest things that students struggle with at my school, the reason they come to our school, is because they struggle with their social emotional learning. And so I think implementing that in all of the classes is something that would be incredibly useful and helpful to a wide variety of students, even students who, have a bunch of friends. I think it's good for them to work on things like leadership and other aspects of social emotional learning. As far as the challenges go, I think one of the biggest challenges will be ensuring engagement, right? Especially as the kids get older, there's less incentive to necessarily engage with the material that's being presented, especially when we think about students who are either at risk or let's say they have a high grade point average and they're going to be able to pass all of your assessments whether or not they pay attention in class. And so I do think that engagement is one of the hardest things that I see teachers struggle with. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges. And I think sitting down and actually having to think about it is a very important aspect of the lesson plan. Another one that I think would be challenging at times would be the reflection, because it is hard to sit down and, well, maybe it's not so hard to sit down and kind of think about, hey, how do I want today to go? I think that's something that would be pretty easy. But when your class does not go how you expected it to, and you really need to sit down and kind of face that fact and really delve into where it went wrong, what you would have done better, I think that sort of self-reflection is really difficult from time to time. And after a really long day, I'm sure the last thing that every teacher is going to want to do all the time is think about what they did wrong in the day. And finally, I think the actually applying theory is going to be another challenge. It is time consuming to find resources and go through them and parse which ones we think are really effective, right? Because in all of these peer-reviewed scholarly articles, it's all high-level stuff. And finding the best ones could be challenging from time to time.